Around the holiday season, I know there's a ton of things you could be doing, so really appreciate you carving time to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham. Brought to you by First Star Logistics, as always, emanating from our outstanding studios. And boy, special guest today, defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. I'm telling you what, man, young quarterback, DTR, had no shot. Coach Anarumo had a scheme. First and second down, crowd the line of scrimmage, pressure, bring people. They run blitz. If they throw the football, pressure the quarterback. Get him in second and long, third and long. Then on third and long, rush 4, drop 7 into coverage. Rush 3, drop 8 into coverage. Make him throw into tight windows. ETR does not have the arm strength. I think I might be able to rip it in there a little bit harder. I mean, he does not have great arm strength. Bottom line is, he was overwhelmed. The Bengals defense was extraordinary. Their best game of the season by far. And the offense stepped up as well, as did Joe Burrow. About 7 games in a row, 250 yards or more, 3 touchdowns or more. The only quarterback to ever do it. Think of the great players that played in the NFL. He's the only one that's done it. Did it in 15 games. Whew. Lou Anarumo talks about Cleveland, talks about the upcoming opponent, Denver. Lou Anarumo knows his defense. Well, did you make a great call during the holiday season to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, because our special guest is incredible. And we're in our studios, as always. First Star Logistics does a phenomenal job of providing these for us, and we can't be more appreciative. And you know, Mozart and Beethoven, they had some musical masterpieces. Lou Anarumo just had another defensive masterpiece that he constructed for his football team. It was magnificent, Coach, and your players, and they bought in. And you called an unbelievable game, and they executed for you, didn't they?
Yeah, I was proud of the way the guys executed the plan and really played hard. We had some really great effort plays that after watching the tape again this morning, very proud of the way the effort, the running to the ball, how we converged on a quarterback and made it uncomfortable for him, and it was a great effort by the guys.
Start off with a 66-yard run by Ford, and it's like, hey, all of a sudden in the goal line situation, Von Bell, and he's done it before, Coach. He's done it before for you. He has a knack for finding the football and punching that bad boy out, and he does it. And they turn it over at the 1-yard line. How big was that?
Well, it was huge. We got the ball back to the offense. Certainly didn't want to start the game that way. But Vaughn, very reminiscent of what he did up in New England in 22 down there, and punched it out, recovered it. And, so it was a great play.
So what you want to have is complementary football, and the offense says, defense, appreciate the hell out of you. Joe Burrow gets them to jump. So now you're not at the 1-yard line, you're at the 6-yard line. That was huge. That was huge to get that drive started. But during that course of that drive, back-to-back plays, 14 yards, 21 yards, 21 yards, 22 yards, 4 straight plays, 2 runs of 21 and 22, 2 passes of 14 and 21. Bottom line is punch it in for a touchdown, a 99-yard drive. You can't go any further than that. 9 plays, and it's finalized by – Coach, I mean, a play that it's as good as I've ever seen. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. I mean, he trips on the foot of Ted Karras, and as he locates T. Higgins. But to have the flexibility and the core strength to jack your upper body up like he did, and to throw a strike like that, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable. Joe is playing at such a high level, and for us to get the fumble, to turn the whole momentum of the game around, and as you just mentioned, takes it and goes the distance for a touchdown, it really swung things into our favor. we were able to settle down after that play and, and played well the rest of the way. So, but yeah, that was an amazing play by Joe, who's doing some amazing things this year.
He really is. I mean, this off-platform stuff is nuts. The jump pass, I thought. Now, this wasn't really a jump pass; it was a face plant pass or whatever. I mean, unbelievable. His arsenal is so huge. All right, so first half, coach, take out that 66-yard play, which you can't do, but I mean the rest of the plays. 19 plays, 86 net yards. So the other 18 snaps besides that run netted them 20 yards, a little over 1 yard per snap. That's crazy. You had tackles for loss on the last 4 possessions of the half, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. I mean, extraordinary the way you guys competed after that one snap.
Yeah, I think so. And you mentioned the tackle for loss. You see Mike Hilton in the backfield almost darn near every play, and just Mike doing things, and the young guys getting to the quarterback, and certainly Trey. And it was great to see both McKinley and Chris have success inside. When it comes to getting after the quarterback. So it's going to take that and more this week against a really good Bronco team.
So 62. They had 63 snaps on the game for 273 yards, 4.3 per play, not per rush, per play. I mean, that's incredible. But take away the one snap. The other 62 snaps, 207 yards, 3.1 yards per snap on 62 snaps in the National Football League. Are you kidding me? Whew. And that's just some unbelievable defensive effort. The last 2 games, coach, 9 takeaways. 6 and 3. By 8 different guys are involved in those 9 takeaways. Everybody's coming to the party. How big is that for you?
Well, it's huge, and I think that that's something that we got to continue the rest of the way. And the guys are getting them in practice, and it's carrying over to the game. We rep it all the time, and just happy to see them having success when it comes to that. And we were fighting over another interception we probably should have had, but I'd rather see us fighting over it than them. So, as a tribute to all the guys and how they've done so far in bouncing back, and really love the energy and the way we're playing together, and the leadership of the veteran players, as well as them bringing the younger guys along is really speaking volumes.
You've got some players on the back end, and you know all about this. You played the back end. You coached the back end. You know all about the defensive backfield. You mentioned Mike Hilton is as instinctive a football player as I've ever seen. And then now you have Geno Stone, who for the second time in his career has an interception in 3 straight football games. I mean, that's not easy to do in the National Football League. This guy has great instincts. And, man, when he decides to break downhill on a football, man, he's coming, isn't he?
Yeah, you certainly can't teach it. He's got a knack for it. He's around it. The good news is he's got really good hands. And yesterday's Ivy, on a scramble play to locate and punch through the pocket, got the ball out, and Geno was in the right place at the right time.
It's amazing to see the growth of the young players. I remember when I was a rookie, my head coach was Paul Brown, and we got about halfway through the season. He said, "Man, you're not rookies anymore. You're veteran players." Well, your young guys have started to play like veteran players even sooner than halfway through the season. How pleased are you with the advancement of the young players?
No, I'm very pleased. I think that, it's always good to see those guys have put in a bunch of time and effort into getting better every day, working with their coaches, along with the veteran players. I can think back here. I think it was either early this week or last week in a walkthrough where BJ is talking to Chris and McKinley as we're about to start a walkthrough. I hear him in the huddle say, "Hey, now every snap you take here, make sure you're intentional about it. Make sure you get good hand placement." Those guys are great, and the coaches are obviously there for that first. But to hear our veteran players echo things like that, it just tells you what type of people we have on our team.
Okay, Coach, so you sweep the Cleveland Browns for the first time since 2017. Love that. Battle of Ohio firmly in place here in Cincinnati and Southern Ohio, not Northern Ohio. So now you have the Denver Broncos. And this offensive football team, pretty impressive. They have a young quarterback here. Joe Burrow is the son of a football coach. Bo Nix is the son of a football coach. These guys are football lifers. I mean, Bo Nix, 61 starts at the collegiate level, at a very high level of college football. He's not your typical rookie, is he?
No, not at all. He's played a ton of football. Coach Payton has done a great job. You can see how he's developed throughout the season, and I know they like how he's playing right now, and how he's been over the last couple months or so. But keeping the turnovers down and knowing to go with the ball. They've got a really good rushing attack. It's going to be a challenge for us this weekend.
Yeah, they haven't had a winning season since 2015, and they're guaranteed a winning season right now. And like you mentioned, Coach, I mean, it's running back by committee. I mean, they have three running backs with over 350 yards. It goes 352, 388, 485. I mean, that's definitely by committee. In terms of throwing the football, though, Sutton is the favorite target. I can understand why at 6'4". He's big on the 50-50 ball. He's got 71 catches for 928 yards and 6 touchdowns. The next leading receiver's got only 35, less than half. So Sutton's the guy, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. And we try to put a focus on a guy like that. Whether we're playing the Cowboys, whether we're playing Tennessee last week with Ridley, whether we're playing this past weekend. Jerry Jeudy had come in with a ton of catches and was on a hot streak. I think he had 2 for 30 or 2 for 20 yesterday. So that's something we pride ourselves on. We make our guys aware of who the top targets are and put extra attention to those guys. So, if they're going to beat us, they're going to beat us with somebody else.
Now, even though Nix is a quarterback, they're throwing it with him. I mean, he's 5th in the National Football League, 507 attempts. He's got 22 touchdown passes, tied for 10th in the NFL. And then he's dangerous because he runs the football too. I mean, he's got 352 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. So he's accounted for 26 touchdowns. He does have 11 interceptions, but he makes pretty good decisions, doesn't he, Coach? I mean, he's got a pretty good football IQ.
Oh, big time. I think that, as you mentioned, over 300 some odd yards on the ground, and, they run some nakeds and boots and things like that. And, he's a really good athlete. He stands in the pocket, knows where to go with the ball, as I mentioned earlier, but is also able to beat you with his legs. So that's a big part of their offense and their zone read stuff that they do, and giving them some options on certain plays. And they've got some weapons at running back as well as wideouts. So really good offense. There's a reason why they're doing as well as they're doing this year.
They get a lot of buzz because they got 51 sacks defensively, which leads the NFL. They've only allowed 22. I mean, they're 3rd in the NFL in sacks per play allowed and sacks per play generated. They have a plus 29 sack ratio. How good is that offensive line in pass protection, or is Nix kind of extending and creating, or is it a combination of both?
I think it's a little bit of a combination of both. I think those guys are playing really well up front. They've got some big people inside that are able to do it. They've got some veteran guys as well. And then, again, if he sees an opening, he'll take it to avoid those sacks. But, it's more than just the quarterback or the O-line. I think it's both, and those guys are really working well together.
Yeah, you mentioned Sean Payton. I mean, he he loves to develop young quarterbacks, and obviously he and Russell Wilson, it didn't mix. It was like oil and water. But he and Bo Nix, they seem to have a relationship that you have to have. And I think that's something that people, I think they know a little bit about Coach Lou Anarumo. But, man, I'm telling you what, I struggle to think that there's another coach that I've seen either coaching me or that I've seen over the years broadcasting that has as good a relationship with his players as you do. I mean, is that something that you think is paramount? I mean, honestly, really, it's like they totally buy into what you're selling, and they know that you know what you're talking about, and you're a great teacher.
Yeah, well, first of all, I appreciate it. I think if you don't have that, you don't have anything. You don't have any kind of foundation for the players to get your point across, get your teaching points across, or anything. So to me, everything, it starts and ends with relationships with our guys. And as I mentioned earlier, you just see the older guys trying to help the younger guys out, and then the younger guys kind of coming along. And there's a lot of teams that when their record was what ours was, that things go south. And as I've mentioned before, you come and watch one of our practices, you think we're 14-0, and it's a tribute to our coaches, Zach's leadership, and how we're going about this thing. And we'll just keep going, and can't wait to get an opportunity to play the Broncos this weekend.
And finally, Coach, I mean, your game plan, quarterback sacks, you had 5 of those. That's going to lose yardage. So did tackles for loss, like you said, with Mike Hilton and others. And you had a bunch of those. I mean, come on, a bunch of those, and Mike Hilton is a tackle for loss machine. But, I mean, I thought your defensive game plan, you were very, very aggressive, had a lot of people near the line of scrimmage. You were bringing people and, giving them – they were seeing ghosts. They didn't know quite who was coming, who wasn't. And then you get them off schedule. It's 1st and long, 2nd and long. Now 3rd and long, with a young quarterback, man, you're rushing 4, dropping 7, rushing 3, dropping 8, and making him make phenomenal throws for completions. I thought your game plan was extraordinary, Coach, and your guys executed it.
No, they did. The guys did a great job executing, and it's certainly a little bit easier when it's always 2nd and 11 or 2nd and 12 or 2nd and 13, and then you get them into those longer 3rd downs. It definitely makes it easier, but Mike does such a great job of showing a blitz when he's not blitzing, or vice versa, and he really keeps the offenses off sync and out of sync rather, and nobody better at it than Mike.
Well, you're right. I mean, 1 for 5 on the first 5 3rd down conversions. They were 3rd and 11, 3rd and 16, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 16. I mean, no chance. Coach, we're ready for another masterpiece, sir. Send those Broncos back to Denver with their tails between their legs, man.
That is the goal for sure. We're looking forward to it, and thanks for having me. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your beautiful family, Coach, and can't thank you enough.
All right, Lap. Thanks, bud.
Appreciate you. Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.